not the leader of a cult. RabbitWithAxe.
Greetings, demons, and welcome to a Fortnite video. So this is a little bit different. This isn't really gameplay necessarily, but I just kind of wanted to talk about all the different members of the 7 as they currently exist, because we finally, with the order, have all 7 members. And obviously, as you can see right here, there's 9 members, quote-unquote, that we have of 7, plus 2 things that I'm going to mention a little bit later in the video. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to go through all of the skins, all the sets, and just kind of go over my thoughts around each one and what they kind of mean to me and stuff, as well as like how I expect it to all work into the story that's going on right now with the 7 versus IO, and just generally just talk about the 7 for a bit. It's not something that I do too often, talk about, you know, what happens in the story, so I thought with the order releasing, it's a good time just to kind of ad-lib, talk about these things, and of course we're going to start with the Visitor. So, obviously the Visitor, the first of the 7 that we actually got, all the way back in Season 4, which is so long ago now, and he is definitely the most basic. You know, he just has his different head displays. I always use the Smiles one, but, you know, it's all pretty cool. Obviously, we didn't realize the significance of the Visitor when he first came in. He has become like a very integral part of the story. Obviously, he launched the rocket. We even have the loading screen retrofit for that. But like, Season 4 was the first season where we've properly got the story that we've kind of been working towards ever since. And, you know, the Visitor, who's the secret skin, all we have is the skin itself and the back bling and then that loading screen. It's a very basic collection of items, and honestly, I do really enjoy it. He does actually work really well with the Foundation's Plasma Spike, which, yeah, you will notice there's a lot of repetition with what I've got equipped, but I have tried to also, this one isn't that good actually, but I have tried to, like, match the colour of the banner to whichever member of the 7 it is, so I think I've done a decent job of that, but, yeah, it's very interesting how the Visitor is just, like, kind of not forgotten. He's very much, like, remembered as being the first member of the 7 that we got, and all the things that he did. But, like, I feel like he's pushed aside a lot due to the fact that we've still yet to hear his voice. He's the only member of 7 that we haven't heard the voice of, unless you want to count. Actually, no, we have heard Paradigm, haven't we? I can't remember. I don't really listen to the audio logs that much. But, yeah, the Visitor is just one of these, like, odd characters where he's very, you know, important to the story. He's in a lot of the cutscenes relating to the 7. You know, he's an important character that we just don't really know much about, other than the fact that he visited us and he launched that rocket and kind of set the story in motion. But yeah, off-world rig, bit of an interesting back bling. He's very much like Spaceman, Mandalorian sort of thing. Who'd have thought that he would become so integral to the story? But yeah, that is the Visitor. And that, of course, takes us all the way to Season X, I do believe. Yeah, Season X with the Scientist, the big boy himself, everyone's favourite. And once again, not really the most interesting of selections. He does have one extra head display, so you got your default, crosshair, etc, etc. I always use Smiles because I really like that one. But he does actually have an alternate colour scheme. So his default is this black with orange, and then he has the white with also orange. I always think it's a different colour, but yeah, it's the same colour both. And yeah, I really do like the white style. That's the one that I go with, just because he's a scientist. You know, it's kind of like a lab coat colour. I just really like that look. But yeah, the black's very good as well. I do generally like the scientist just in all forms. I think he's really cool. But yeah, let's just equip that. His back bling, once again, just like with the off-world rig, Star Surge. Pretty basic. It's a cape with a backpack that has like some sort of apparatus on it. I'm not really sure. And once again, that's all we got for him. Like, we didn't even get a loading screen for the Scientist. He's just a back bling and a skin, as well as, of course, the welcome sign emote, which yeah, it's the only proper 7 emote that we have that's kind of like somewhat universal, even though it's very clearly the Scientist's helmet. But, yeah, the Scientist, there's not really much to say about him. I really like him. He's a fan favourite. Obviously, he's one of the more vocal members of the 7, if you don't want to talk about the Foundation being The Rock. But, yeah, he's just the Visitor 2.0. He's just a big boy visitor, which was kind of the theme for Season X, so just making larger versions of previous characters. But yeah, I do like Scientist. Scientist is probably up there as one of my favourites. But in Season X, we actually also got the Paradigm. And once again, very basic. She actually has a style that's more similar to the Visitor, with the blues, and then a white style, which is more similar to the alternate look for the Scientist. Once again, I do prefer the white look. Also, I use the Scientist back bling with her. But yeah, she does have the same amount of head displays. Once again, I use Smile, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I quite like this one. It kind of reminds me of like a nuclear symbol. And Dancer is actually pretty good on this, which is not as good on Scientist or I believe Visitor also as that. But yeah, once again, very basic. Doesn't have any other items, not even a back bling. She was a limited time release, so if you didn't get her when she came to the item shop initially, you can't get her anymore, which is really weird for such like an important character apparently. And sure, we haven't probably seen her in action. We don't really know who she is, what she's done. We know that there's been a falling out between her and the Foundation, and the Scientist is still kind of on her side. It's a very much an interesting part of the story that I hope we do actually get to see Paradigm in her full glory at some point in the future, but I'm not really holding my breath. I'm a huge fan of Paradigm. She is my favourite member of the Seven aesthetically. I really do like her simplicity of her armour, how she's basically just a female visitor. I do really appreciate that. And yeah, overall, just a very, very good outfit, and there's not really much to say about Paradigm, though I will get on to some stuff about Paradigm a little bit later in the video, towards the end of the list. And then an entire chapter later, we got the Foundation. It seems ridiculous to say that, but yeah, we didn't get the Foundation until Chapter 3, Season 1, and he's actually got a nice variety. He's got his regular, more like visitor colours, which it's not exactly the same as Visitor. It's pretty unique, actually, in terms of how, you know, he does have the blue, but he's also got a lot of, like, greys and blacks and browns. It's a very interesting colour scheme. And then there's a combat look, which is just like a stealth black. I do prefer that far more, and I think it matches the character a lot better. We do actually have, and this was the first of the 7 to actually have this, Helmet Off. And, of course, it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson, everyone's favourite. And, yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. It was very exciting to find out that it was Dwayne playing him. It was very interesting. A lot of people had kind of predicted it based off the cutscene we got at the end of Chapter 2. But, yeah, the Foundation is interesting. The Foundation is a really interesting character. For it to be the leader of the 7, it's just, it's odd. It's odd that, like, this was kind of our reintroduction to the 7 after so long. But, once again, different visors. Not really anything that's that interesting. I quite like Combat Elite, but, you know, they're all kind of okay. The Foundation was the first to not have the smile edit style for the visor, and unfortunately, none of the others do, which kind of fits the characterization of the rest of them, but it is also kind of annoying that, like, the other 3 have the smile face, and that was the one consistent one between them all, so it's like, why doesn't the Foundation? But the Foundation is also the first skin in the 7 set to actually have essentially a full set of items. So he of course has his Foundation's mantle, which has both a regular style and a combat style, which I am obviously using just because I like the grey on it. He has his plasma spike, which looks amazing. I'm going to swing that, which is awesome. Honestly, I really do like that. We have the rocket wing, and both these do have styles, I do believe. So yeah, you can actually have this dual wield, and then you can also make it dark, which I don't really like that aesthetic, but I mean, I'm sure plenty of people will like that. Moving on back to the glider though. The rocket wing is very weird. It's a rideable, you do stand on top of it. It does have a regular style, which is blue, goes with a lot of the other members of the 7. But yeah, obviously stealth is what I go with. And yeah, then we also have the foundational wrap, which is the first 7 wrap, but not the last. We will go through a few more a bit later. But yeah, very nice wrap, very good aesthetic. It is animated, of course. And yeah, it just goes with a lot of the members of 7. It is the one that I use for any members of the 7 that don't already have a wrap, We also, of course, have the Tilted Titans loading screen, which isn't technically a The 7 item, but does contain the Foundation. I believe it's the only one that actually does. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I believe that is the case. And that was really it. Obviously, as well, the Foundation does have his tactical visor toggle, which allowed you to show the face of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which is pretty cool. I'm not the biggest fan of that style, but I mean, it's nice that you can change it mid-game, so if you just want to be like, yeah, I'm Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for a little bit, you can do that. So that's pretty cool, and that is the Foundation, the leader, potentially, of the 7, and the return to the 7 in the storyline, which was really, really cool. And then that brings us to this current season. So Chapter 2, Season 2 gave us 3 true members, as well as a few other characters that are related to the 7. And we might as well start with the Origin, just because I want to get onto the sisters last. So yeah, the Origin. He's interesting. He is actually the, I guess, Cube King? He's very weird. I'm not really completely sure, but he has a lot of different styles. He has his Granite Grey and his Space Void Black, and as well as the orange colour for his, I guess, containment suit, I suppose. But then he also has his actual Armoured 7 style, where you have the blue, you have white, and you have the Space Void Black again. And yeah, I do kind of prefer... I wish there was an orange style for the armour, but I'm perfectly happy with the blue, and I actually do quite like the blue. Once again, 5 visors, though we don't have the smiley still, so On Point, Combat Elite, which I don't think it looks as good as the Foundations. But yeah, they're all pretty good. Surveillance is actually pretty nice, but it's just not an aesthetic that I'm that interested in. But yeah, overall, they are actually pretty good. I don't know, the Origin is not one that I'm overly interested in. He's not a character I'm overly invested in, but he is British, so that's pretty cool. Backbling is Cube Ether, which, yeah, it's very different from all the rest of them, because all the rest of them have capes. It has different styles to match with the different colours. But yeah, it's not the most interesting of backblings. It's, you know, a cube in a containment chamber. It is what it is. It's alright. And then there's Cubic Scepter, which, once again, doesn't really match with any of the other harvesting tools for the 7, but has the same styles once again. Looks pretty cool. Let's swing it. It has a nice sound to it, so it's a decent thing, but honestly, it's not something that I overly use. He does have his own rap original issue, and once again, I'll just quickly go through all this. It goes with him, and that's all I really ask. Like, it's not as interesting as the Foundations, I think, but it's still pretty good. We do actually have the Origins Anthem, which I am going to play. I haven't been playing music during this, just because I do have different music set for different characters. But let's just throw the music on now, and you get to listen to... I'm going to quickly deselect it, and then I'm going to reselect it. Or maybe I won't, because apparently that's not working. But yeah, I'm going to leave this on for just a little bit while we just finish talking about the Origin. We do, of course, have the Fallen Kingdom, which goes all the way from him being the Cube King all the way to the Origin. It's a really interesting loading screen, and it's weird that we never actually got the, you know, I guess Cube King skin. It's odd, especially because, like, it's in a lot of the art. Obviously, it's even in the art for Origins Anthem. We never actually got it, though, so that's really odd. But then there is Unchained, which allows you to change between the different styles, which I think is pretty cool. Watch that again. And yeah, it's very cool. I really do like the Origin aesthetically. It's just not a skin that I'm overly invested in. But yeah, that is the Origin. And he was also the first of the 7 to actually have a player anthem, or, you know, lobby track, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, pretty cool overall. Moving on, we have the first of the sisters, the Imagined, and yeah, I love the Imagined. I really love the colours, I love the aesthetic. The sisters are very interesting in that they both have wings, but I'll get into that in a moment. When it comes to the Imagined, she has her helmet off style, which I'll put on now, with her 3 different colour schemes. And yeah, they're all pretty good. I really like the Storm variant, though honestly they're all pretty good and they're pretty unique for a member of the 7. I just really like Storm. But yeah, with the helmet, Combat Elite again, A lot of different ones. Once again, no smiles, but overall, still pretty cool. I do really like the Imagined. I think she is one of the best we've had. And especially, like, you know, she has all the updates that we don't have with Paradigm. And Paradigm being my favourite, you know, the sisters are going to be, you know, very close to, like, the top when it comes to my opinions on them. The Backbling, the Imagined Wingspan, once again, has the different colours. And, yeah, not the most interesting. I wouldn't use this on any other skin personally, but is interesting to have wings rather than a cape. I do like the consistency between the sisters both having wings. I'll get into that later though. The Imagined Blade, which once again, same styles. And yeah, it's fine. It glows when you hit things. It's a blade. At least it's consistent, unlike with the Origins staff. You know, I do quite like the fact that it is, you know, a blade, like we see with all the other characters that have melee weapons or harvesting tools, whatever. The Imagined Wingspan Glider, so obviously this works with the Backbling. Once again, all same styles. Which I do wonder how it works if you have one style for the glider, one style for the Backbling. I wonder if there's like a transition on it or anything like that. But yeah, once again, not something I'd use for any other skin, but it's fine for this. And we do, of course, have the Imagined Aura Wrap, which goes with the basic style and is quite nice. It could actually go with a few of the different characters in the 7, but yeah, it's very much a one-use wrap. It's not the most interesting. It's actually my least favourite of all the wraps that we have for the 7 members, but yeah. And then, of course, the Imagined Unlimited, or Imagination Unlimited, which looks pretty cool, looks pretty neat. I do quite like it. But yeah, that is the Imagined. And that leaves us with the final member, the Order. Of course, Imagined Order being the adversaries of the 7, it's going to be Imagined and Order. And yeah, the Order is quite interesting, in my opinion. Once again, helmet off, but there's no actual colour schemes to change between. You just have helmet on and off, and then 4 different looks. Not the most varied of the 7, especially so late in the game, but still a very good looking skin. I do really enjoy the overall design. Once again, anything that's female 7, I really do like the aesthetic of. So having another one, you know, I quite like it. The Ordered Wingspan, slightly different from the other one. Doesn't have an edit style though, unfortunately. The Ordered Cutlass, once again, doesn't have an edit style, but it's still pretty neat overall. And if we just quickly swing that. Once again, I'm just kind of happy that we have another blade. I just like the consistency of them having blades, and yeah, it just adds to the overall theming of the 7. We also have Stealth Surveillance loading screen, which, yeah, is pretty cool. And yeah, that's really all I can say about the Order. It's kind of a shame that she is kind of lacking, especially compared to the other sister. If she had similar amounts of customization to the Imagined, and maybe was like a little bit more expensive in terms of ebooks, I'd be all for that personally. I think she's 1,200 in the shop. If she was 1,500 and had some more styles, I'd be very happy with that. But as is, very good skin, just not the most varied of the 7. But that brings us to 2 skins which are arguably members of the 7, but it's arguable. So we have Wish Guardian, otherwise known as Orisa, and as you can already see, she does have the 7 style helmet. Let's quickly take off everything just so it's default. We have the regular colours, the Cerulean colours, Sylvan, then Stealth Silver, Tempest, and Vivid, which are all the bonus styles you get for getting to tier 200, or level 200 in the Battle Pass. You can put the cape on and off. Once again, I'll just go through the colours with the cape. And then we'll throw on the helmet, go through the colours once more just to show the helmet off. That's the thing, this level of customization is just unheard of with the rest of the 7. And then, of course, you've got Cat-Eyed, Tabby, Whiskered, and Pointed as your different helmet styles. But yeah, she's a very interesting skin, obviously being an anime style with the cell shading. She's unique. I don't get why this and the other skin we're going to look at are both cat-themed 7-style characters. I don't know whether it's supposed to be like a sub-faction of the 7, whether it's not even 7-related, it just happens to be similar. But they both have visors, they both have customizable visors at that, so they're not just bikers. And they share a lot of the actual design with the 7. So it is a very interesting thing. Back bling is Lovelock, which once again has different colour styles of regular, cerulean, and sylvan. Not the most interesting back bling, but once again, I'm not going to complain about this not being a cape, because obviously she has her cloak anyway. The Guardian daggers sound pretty cool and have different colour styles once again. We also have the Wheel of Daggers, which is a very, very cool glider. Completely unique as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, once again, different style, colours, based off the different blades. Pretty cool overall. Not anything that I'd use with any other character, but still pretty neat. And then there are also the Fallen Daggers Contrail. Once again, has all different colours to match with the blades, because they're all just to match, basically. And then we do have Orissa's Crest wrap, which works really well. I really do like the little paw print on it. Overall, just a very interesting thing. And then the Hunter Returns, which has another little cat with a fish. And yeah, that is Orissa. She's odd. She's interesting. And I consider her to be at least, you know, the 7 adjacent. And that is why I've included her in this video and also made a preset for her. And then moving on to the final of the kind of somewhat official 7 members, to some extent, or 7 adjacent characters, we of course have Panther, who's part of Operation Black Tabby, and once again has all the styles for the different visors. We have Uwu, Perfect Targeting, Nocturnal Vision, and Cat Lateral. She's once again a character that has cat ears on her 7 helmet, making me think that, you know, her and Orissa must be from some sort of faction within the world of the 7, but I don't know. The back bling is Panther's cross fangs, which is pretty nice, but also it's a hologram thing. We get a lot of them. We have the Panther Tooth harvesting tool. That's a really nice sound to it. And that is that. Of course, Panther is part of a bundle, and as such, like, just doesn't really have all that much to her, but yeah, a very interesting skin, and a good way to just round out the cast of the 7 and friends, essentially. And yeah, that is all of the 7 plus Wish Guardian Black Tabby. It's interesting how it's all been put together. The one consistent thing that they all have is the customizable visors, and otherwise, there's a lot of variety within them. There's a lot of different colours, there's a lot of different armour styles, a lot of different body types, and all kinds of things like that. It's really interesting, especially when it comes to the ones that don't have helmets, so the Foundation, the Origin, the Imagined, and the Order, the different hairstyles. I mean, the fact that the Origin straight up isn't a human character, he's a Cube King character, so whatever alien species that they are. It's very interesting to me, and, you know, having the Foundation be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, it's all very cool, it's all very neat, and, you know, even down to just having Wish Guardian be an anime skin, you know, with the cell shading, and Black Tabby or Panther being, you know, essentially just a Lynx reskin, essentially. There's so much variety here. But finally, that brings us to what I have called the Not Paradigm collection. So, as a lot of people will know, Singularity, the important one. We have no clue her purpose, what she is, who she is, anything like that. But the event that introduced her also introduced the paradigm. And they are identical from the neck down. Other than the gauntlets, which are just a staple of being, you know, a member of the 7, they are essentially identical. Of course, Singularity has a default style with no helmet, an upgraded style with a bit more armor, and then the full upgrade with helmet. I'll quickly go through the different colors. So, without the helmet, we have Cuddle, Rex, Drift, Bdur, and Pizza. With the armored look, we have default, Cuddle, Rex, Drift, Bdur, and Pizza. And then with the helmet, we have default, Cuddle, Rex, Drift, Bdur, and Pizza. And she's a very interesting skin. I do quite like her. she has no other items other than the ready to fight loading screen, which is actually not hers, because she doesn't have her own set. She's a unique character. She has no items, nothing. She just has a lot of styles, and that is it. It's interesting that she released in the Battle Pass as a secret skin, and at that point, we also got Paradigm, who shares her model. Will she be revealed to be the same character as Paradigm? We don't know. It's hard to say, and it's just an interesting part of the mythos that we've been told that Singularity is important. We just don't know why, and we can only assume it's because she has some relation to the Paradigm. And of course, the thing that Singularity is known for is driving a gigantic mashup mech. Mecha Team Leader, one of the team leader skins, one of the bears, many bears, has a metal style, has the back bling, turbo jump, it's jet set, sorry. I always get them confused. Once again, metal style. And yeah, you have the combo cleavers, which actually have a statue of Singularity as the handle, which is very interesting. Then the Mecha Team wrap, which is not my favourite. It looks interesting enough, and overall, that is everything. We do actually have the final showdown, which I will play in just a moment, once I've actually turned the music back on. And yeah, otherwise, it's just that loading screen that I've already shown you. And of course, Mecha Team Leader was part of the massive event where Mecha Team Leader fought the beast, the monster, the whatever you want to call it, that was underneath the castle. Team Mech, of course. There's also Team Monster, which I will quickly show just because it's part of the same set. Team Monster, there we go. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing of how Mecha Team Leader and Singularity have been set up, because we don't know anything. We literally don't know a single thing about either of these things. Mecha Team Leader lost an arm and then flew into space. The arm stayed on the island for a very long time. We have yet to see Singularity back at all, and just generally, Catus has returned on the map. The skeleton of Catus is currently, as we speak, on the map still. It's very odd that we have not heard anything from either Singularity or Mecha Team Leader, or Paradigm really. So, as I say, I very much consider them to be the not Paradigm collection, where they are definitely related to Paradigm in some way, both Mecha Team Leader and Singularity, but it's hard to say whether they are actually Paradigm herself, or whether it's just something that happens to coincide with her. It's really interesting, and that's why I think Paradigm has become my favourite. I always liked Paradigm the most of the 7 members before we got the Foundation, before we got the influx of them that we got recently. You know, the Paradigm has been my favourite since Season X. And the fact that, you know, she's so interesting in terms of she's exclusive, or timed, or whatever you want to call it, and she has no other items, just like Singularity, it's fascinating to me. I really am just so interested to see what happens with Paradigm in the future, and just generally what happens with the rest of the 7 and the various members thereof, if we get more skins that are like 7 team members and stuff, because obviously with Panther and Orisa, you know, they're not 7 members, but they're 7 allies of some description. We've obviously seen all the different versions of defaults wearing 7 helmets. I want to see more of that. I want to see a lot more variety of that in the item shop in the future, and hopefully that does continue. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed this look at all the different members and allies of the 7. Obviously, I could have gone into like Agent Jones and stuff, but as is, this is where I wanted to end off. So thanks for watching. If you did like it, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new here, and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. Tell me what you think is going to happen with the Paradigm, with Singularity, with any of these characters. And otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but we'll survive. I just wanna tell